Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs and joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual. I hope that this message finds everybody well um, and prosperous as always, safe, in good health, all of that great stuff. I called this video Exodus. It's going to wait a few more minutes for a couple people to chime in. In the meantime, it is somewhat of a wonderful day in South Florida. I've been in a cold building all day, which is why I have a jacket on. But if you notice, I titled this Exodus. Exodus 3.5. The reason why I call it 3.5 is because, let me just also say this, because I'm sure my brother may tune in, and that's, he's not always, but he's responded to a lesson that I did on the 400 years the other day called I Am So Humble. I want to thank you, my brother. We have been corresponding back and forth, although we don't agree on the same concept of the 400 years. Your dialogue has been very professional and according to the scriptures. And I want to thank you for that personally. And so we've been having some very good dialogue in seeking the truth. And that's what we do. We who labor here seek only the truth. But I wanted to do this one on the Exodus. And the reason why is because it seems like that people are overlooking the 3.5 year tribulation. And just in looking at some of the dialogue that's been in the comment section, it seems to me, I could be wrong, but it seems to me that people are mixing up the exodus of getting into the wilderness when the 3.5 years starts. They are joining that in with the 400 years, 1619, 2019. And some have even added on the possibility that there's an additional 30 years beyond the 400, from 400 to 430, and they're connecting the Exodus with the tribulation. Let me say this. The 400-year prophecy, as many of you all know, I don't subscribe to it, but even if you do subscribe to it, it's not connected with the 3.5 year tribulation. The 3.5 year tribulation is a whole different lesson. And we are going to have to exodus. We are going to have to exit. And it's not only in the United States, it's everywhere. Everywhere. Every Hebrew that knows and that needs to dwell in the secret place of the Most High, you're going to have to get to that wilderness. So I figured this week I need to bring out some understanding on that, because just in my dialogue with a couple of people on this subject via email and the messages that we've been so pleasantly going back and forth with, and that's number one. Is let me just say this. If you disagree with me, that's okay. But the method in which we disagree is so important as Hebrews, people of the faith. It's so important that we remain name calling, all of that. It's just not cool. It's just not cool among Hebrews. The other day, and I think that's why I mentioned this brother's name, because we've been dialogue. Now, for the most part, most of us have been disagreeing on that subscription of the 400 years very amicably. And that's okay, because all of us are seeking the truth. It doesn't mean that somebody's not telling the truth. It's just our understanding is different, and that's why we have to labor to seek the truth. And all of your get understanding. When the apostles and did not agree when it came to circumcision, they had a council, they had a meeting. That's how you handle stuff. You do it the right way. How you doing, Brother Israel? Brother Israel and I, there's a couple of issues that he and I don't agree on. But he's always sending me emails, and we always just kind of go back and forth, but it's professional, it's out of love, it's amicably, and that's what's important, because I enjoy what he sends me, and I want to say that to you, my brother. I thank you for what you do send me, because if we strongly believe something, when we send it to each other, it's out of love with the expectation that either we're going to learn or we're going to teach. And that's what it's all about. It's either learning or teaching, because all of us have the same goal. And that is to make it into the kingdom. And so I'm not going to say that Brother Israel is a deceiver or a false prophet, because he and I don't see eye to eye on a particular thing. He just sends me an email and he says, brother, I disagree with you, and here's why. And that's what I like about that brother. That's how Israel is supposed to do it. That's how Israel is supposed to do it. So all of those that do that, thank you for that, and thank you for the dialogue, because that is important. The other day, I was on Sister E's channel. I don't know if y'all know Sister E. S-I-S-T-A, Sister, and then E. She has a very good channel. She's doing a lot of stuff. She just started her channel probably about a month, 6 weeks ago, and she's doing very, very, very well on it. I was on her channel the other day, and they had a brother on there named Yacoba. And Brother Yacoba and her were having a dialogue on Zoom regarding the coronavirus. And I disagreed. That the Brother Yacoba was bringing out the fact that it was something that was orchestrated. And I did not agree with it. I did not agree with it at all. Totally didn't. I disagree. I just said, no, it's not something that was orchestrated. I insinuated it was a little far-fetched. I was out of town for the long weekend, and I did some research on it, my wife and I, and actually my wife did, and she brought it to my attention that it was very, very well orchestrated. It's a virus that is planned. It was planned. And the sources were credible sources. They were newsworthy sources that had produced the information. And I went back to her channel and I called her up first and I said, Sister E, I stand corrected. That is a virus that was very well planned. It came from a government lab in China. They do know that now. Now they're investigating on how it got out. It was developed there. They supposedly had something that they were doing. Nothing just haphazardly gets out. But they had infected animals, in particular bats, and those animals eventually got to that meat marketplace. So anyway, I called up Sister E and I said, Sister E, I have to stand corrected. I was wrong on that. So I told her I will be posting something, and I did, because if you are wrong, you're wrong. You correct it and deal with it. That's how we do things as Hebrews. That's how we should do it. We should be teaching the world something differently. Now, back to the 3.5 year. It seemed to me from reading the comments that was on my site regarding the lesson I did on Friday night. And again, this is just based upon the comments that was on my channel. And I thank everybody for their dialogue and in a way that's according to the scriptures. Although disagreeing, the dialogue was very great on my side. So I realized that maybe perhaps some people are looking at the 400 years and getting it in conjunction with the 3.5 years. And so it really prompted me as I was driving for 3 hours yesterday to go back and just my wife was doing the driving and I was sitting there doing the reading of some of the comments, and it was brought to my attention about comments being made about my lesson outside of my channel, and those that updated me, thank you for that. But nonetheless, we got to stay focused. We got to stay focused on seeking truth and truth only. But let me just say this. I realized that the 3.5 years, people were merging the Exodus, the 400 years, as being a part of that. Matthew, the 24th chapter, the Messiah, in Matthew, the 24th chapter, the Messiah talked about end time. When the disciples asked him, when shall these things be? And when shall be the end of your coming and the end of the world? So as we know it. So basically, he gave them a list of things that were pretty much in chronological order. There's going to be wars, pestilence, diseases, wars and rumors of wars. All of these things is just something that is going to be expected. But when you see the abomination of the desolation stand in the holy place spoken by the prophet Joel, then there's going to be 3.5 years of tribulation. Now, once I saw that, and I just says, wow. And I think, and I could be mistaken, at least I am humble. That's his name. And we're going to have some further dialogue on it. I'm going to give him my number to call me. But it seems as if we were mixing that Exodus. And I don't like to call it an Exodus. It's more like you better flee to that wilderness. If you don't want to get caught up in that if you don't want to get caught up in the tribulation, you need to make it to that wilderness. You need to make it to the wilderness. And I said, man, we need more lessons on this 3.5 years, because that's the next big thing. That 3.5 year tribulation is the next big thing. Let me tell you how close it is. In May of this year, Rome and those powers to be that's running the so-called church is having a big meeting in May. Some of you all have sent me, at least 2 or 3 people have sent me the YouTubes on it and the print material on it, that he's calling and paying for a lot of people, different religious groups from around the world, to come under the pretense of coming together to discuss several issues. One is going to be global warming, and the other one is dealing with the fate of children, worldwide. And that he's calling together to put together a unified council, sort of like letting the religious barrier walls down and let's come together for a common good, a common interest, being global warming and the fate of children worldwide. And it's going to be led by the Pope. It's going to be led by the Pope. That, my brothers and sisters, is a platform to further a cause. And when you look at what I always consider to say, look at the political powers and moves that's going around politically, like the European Union. When you look at the European Union and what's taking place, England just left out. They could not be in it prophetically because they are a Protestant. They are a Protestant government. Protestant means they're not a Catholic government. They're out. They're out of the European Union as a head. But nonetheless, when you look at what's happening in the European Union, and you're looking at the 10th generation of the, I guess you want to call it the restoration of Rome, which is the 10th generation, or you say the 10 toes, or the 10th power to the 10th power. This is the 10th round that Rome is really getting more politically worldwide involved, and this Pope is a very popular Pope. I'm not saying it's the Pope. It could be the Pope. It could be the system. It could be the process. Nonetheless, when you see what's happening, you see, and the relationship that's happening between Israel and Rome, and the fact that Rome is buying a lot of property in Israel, and all of the so-called historical sites, such as like the pool where Lazarus was brought back to life. All of those sites, the Catholic Church, not only have they purchased the land next to it, they put cathedrals there. Now, I have seen the pictures. I don't have the pictures of the cathedrals, but it's really happening. So the pathway for the Pope to operate out of the holy city is there. He's already changed the dates, the times, and the seasons. And Daniel says they would think to change the laws, the customs, the times. That's already happening. That's already been done. But they have not done it out of the holy place. When that happens, when that temple starts to get built, we better get to the place of safety, because after that, it's the end. You're going to see 3.5 years of tribulation. And then after it, the scripture says, and immediately after the 3.5 years of tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall go through its process, and then that's when the Son of Man returns. That's when he returns. That's how close we are. That's how close we are. And that's why this week I'm going to be doing a little excerpts on that tonight. I may roll out a Bible lesson on this tonight because I think it's so important, especially if people are connecting. And that could be a very honest mistake. It's just going through the scriptures to read it, that the Exodus, the 400-year Exodus, has nothing to do with the 3.5 years at all. We need to do an exit, but it's not connected to the time frame. According to Matthew, the 24th chapter, has nothing to do with 400 years of being in bondage. This 3.5 years is going to happen. We are right around the corner from it. And that's why we need to do a lesson. And you need to know what you need to do in order to be in the The scripture says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. We need to talk about it. We need to discuss it. We need to get there, and we need to look at what that is. Mr. Johnson, can you try to organize an Israelite gathering once every 3 months to discuss these issues such as the 400 years, the true scripture, 7-day Sabbath, and disperse by people? You know, Brother Israel, I think dialogue on stuff like that would be very good. I really do. I really do. I think having the right people there that can share their viewpoint, be professional about it according to the scriptures, with the intent of seeking the truth, I think that would be a very, very good thing to do. I really do. I think that would be very good. We'll have some more discussion on it. I like that. I like that. I like that. I really do. And I think it's much needed. And I think it'd be a very good thing to do. So that being said, peace, you all. I arrived at my destination, and I will probably go on tonight. I'm actually started yesterday to put together, as I was driving, the lesson on the 3.5 year tribulation. I think it's very timely as to what's going on right now, and we need to look at it. We need to really look at that lesson and look at when it's going to take place so that it doesn't creep up on us, because there are certain signs that you will see according to the scriptures, and we're going to discuss that tonight. Peace. We'll talk soon. Mad Dog says, I'm sorry, Pastor Johnson, the more I look into it, the so-called lost books of the Apocrypha is a deception. It's inconsistent to the actual 66 books. That's a subject that's really on its own. Maybe that needs to be on the list when if we ever could get the correct people to have a good heart, I want to seek the truth conference. I like that. I want to seek the truth conference. Wow. Okay. Peace, you all. We'll talk soon.